When you listen to the George Harrison interviews, you might think that he's kind of joking around all the time and he's not being very serious and he's probably maybe even being a little bit spiky sometimes or, trying to throw you off the trail or maybe not wanting to give you the good information or maybe he's gossiping about this or maybe he might saying something bad about that person. Some of that might be true. But a lot of the time, you can read between the lines and you can find out quite a bit about George in his interviews, especially those longer interviews, because with the short interviews, yeah, you can probably find out a lot about his stuff, but sometimes it takes George a little bit of time to warm up. And by the time that he gets to maybe the end of the interview, that's where the gold is found, right there, near like the latter part of the interview. Just like when he sits down, you can even tell that he relaxes after a bit of time. And that's when things just kind of start to happen. And he can really reveal himself. And I've come to find that George, he really is an honest person. And a lot of times when you're talking to him, like the truth just comes out. Even if and a lot of times it's not great about himself. And you can also find that, he's maybe not happy with his faults. And he's very happy to give credit to other people. He doesn't want the credit. He doesn't want the spotlight. He doesn't want it on him. And you'll hear him a lot of times, but he'll make it be kind of jokey. He'll just kind of brush things off and be all jokey like that. But really, this is him just like giving other people are wonderful, just acknowledging like everybody else is good, but not me. Obviously, he thinks he's probably pretty good. But that's just not where he's coming from. He can be very generous like that and have a lot of influences. And when you hear him talk, like tell his stories and anecdotes on just about any subject, he's got a story for just about everything. He knows all these different people and he talks about what this person is like and what that person did and he's not really talking about himself so much. He's talking about like what this person did and how great they were and what this person was like, because he finds people interesting, evidently. And it's almost like he's just collecting a lot of information, just like downloading all this stuff to suit. Sometimes I think George is just like a sponge. It's almost like he just loves life, loves people, loves the experience, wants to make the most of his time here, takes the good and the bad, wants to experience it all. He basically, by being a Beatle, he was able to do all of that stuff. And when you listen to him in his later interviews, he's probably not as jokey. He's still joking around, but you can tell he's a lot more thoughtful, a lot more in-depth, and kind of giving out a lot more information, telling a lot more stories. And of course, he's including the Beatles and his friends, and he always tells these little behind-the-scenes stories about maybe him and Paul, or maybe him and John, like sometimes him and Ringo, and even talks about like what it was like, with the other artists and the musicians that were big influences on him, like giving credit to Scotty Moore for coming up with the naughty chords. And he talks about Roy Orbison, how much he loves his singing and how much he just like, oh my gosh, he's just incredible. And I saw Roy singing and he's like not even moving. Like when he's singing, is his mouth moving? He's just not moving. I'm watching him sing. So he's just in awe of these other people. And he even keeps these little stories and all these things that happen to him kind of locked up, and it just takes the right question to unlock it. And again, like with Roy Orbison, I didn't know that Roy had recorded some of the songs over at George's house, some of the songs for Roy's last album, Mystery Girl. I didn't know that. But then here it comes. It just kind of comes out. Maybe everybody knows that now, but I didn't know it. You can just hear this stuff coming out of George, and you just get this clear picture. It's really a big picture. Of course, he's jokey. He's hilarious. And I think that's sort of what he learned with the Beatles. And he says, like, being a comedian, you got to be a comedian when you're from Liverpool. So that just comes naturally to him. I don't think he's like trying to be a jerk or anything like that. I think a lot of times when maybe he's kind of sniping at somebody, he's probably joking. Just like I heard him, he was talking about the song Some Other Guy, and he says that they didn't like their version of it. He liked the guy, whoever that was. I forget the name of the singer who did it, who sang that song, Some Other Guy. And he's making fun of John Lennon. He imitates John Lennon singing Some Other Guy.
And John's going, some other guy now.
But of course, he loves the Beatles. He loves John Lennon's voice, but he just didn't like what they did. Oh, it's terrible. So he's very quick to kind of put down their work and give credit, like where it's due. That's a generous human being. That's an honest soul right there, just wanting to put the spotlight, and actually, like I said, give the love. And I think that's kind of what George is about. I think in that one other interview, that's kind of what, in a lot of George's interviews, you'll hear him say that. He won't quite come out and say, the love you take is equal to the love you make. He'll put it in a lot of other ways. Definitely listen to those interviews, kind of read between the lines. He doesn't want to say that exactly. He wants to put it his own way. Fine, George, put it your own way. That's okay. But he certainly, I just kind of dig when, like, the Beatles lore and the Beatles stories and the little anecdotes just kind of creep in to him talking. It just kind of comes out like me and the Beatles did that. Paul and I did that.
I think in the anthology, Paul told about how he travelled halfway over Liverpool because somebody had a copy of Searching.
John did that. I love when Ringo, it just kind of creeps in there. And he always talks about it like with a smile on his face. And when any of these guys reveal themselves a little bit more to us, it's a gift. It's a beautiful thing. Thank you so much for being here with me today. I really and truly appreciate it. And until next time, peace and love one another. Take care.
Beatles is Beatles, Beatle. In the end, it's like, oh, sod off with the Beatles,